Hey friends, thank you so much for being here. Happy hump day. I wanted to pop on today to talk about a really special topic that's really important to me, and I think it's so important that people hear this. So if this is the first time you're watching me, my name is Kathy. I am a personal finance specialist, and I've been in the banking industry for the last 10 years, and I want to use my knowledge and expertise and help you make wiser financial decisions. So today's topic I want to talk about is, should I lease my next vehicle? This seems to be a very popular topic, especially around this time of the year when people are looking to get new vehicles. I want to share with you the information and the knowledge that I have had with leasing a vehicle, and when you should lease a vehicle and when you should buy a vehicle, and who will actually be benefiting, who will actually benefit from actually leasing a car. So let's just get started. And to start, if you don't know what leasing is, when you lease a car, it's kind of like you're renting a car from a dealership. You don't have to worry about any maintenance on the vehicle. You don't have to worry about if something breaks, they'll repair it for you. So it's kind of like renting a home, only now you're renting a car. So every month you'll make a monthly payment, but in exchange, you don't have to worry about the responsibility of ownership. So nowadays you can pretty much lease anything. I just got my new phone a couple months ago, and I didn't know, but you can actually lease like an iPhone too. So yeah, it helps try to simplify your life and your lifestyle in leasing a car. So you don't have to worry about, selling off the vehicle or trading it in if you don't like it anymore. Leasing takes that guesswork out for you, because all you're responsible for is making that monthly payment, and you have a new car to drive in every 3 years. So typically 3 years is the term of when you normally keep your lease. Some can be a little bit longer, some can be a little bit shorter, but typically it's about 3 years. So anytime that you get into a lease, you would keep the car for 3 years. And then once the lease expires, you have the opportunity to just trade in that car, walk away, and get a new vehicle. So that's kind of the incentive, and it's been so popular. Leasing a vehicle has been so popular over the last few years, and I've been doing this for a while, and I've been hearing more and more people lease their vehicle, which is perfectly fine. So I actually have a couple questions that you can also ask yourself if you're still stuck between leasing or buying your next vehicle. Now, there are pros and cons for both. Either you're buying or you're leasing, but the trick is to know what's right for you. It all comes down to personal preference, your lifestyle, and how you view car ownership, right? So the first, question that you should ask is, do you want the responsibility of owning something? Now, if I personally have never leased a vehicle, I've always bought out my car and financed it, because I like to keep my car for long periods of time. I don't need the newest thing. I don't want to trade it in after 3 years. So the first question that you would want to ask is, do you want that responsibility of ownership, like owning something? So what that means is, if the car breaks, you're responsible for the repairs. If let's see here, like you have to worry about maintenance and having money to do that, and the upkeep of having the vehicle. But on the upside of owning a vehicle is, it's yours to have. So once you're done making payment on that vehicle, it's yours. You don't have to make any more monthly payments, so you'll free up that extra amount of cash each month, and you can do whatever you wish with it. It's yours. You can, drive it as much as you like. You don't have those restrictions. Now, for leasing a vehicle, it's for somebody who does not like the responsibility of ownership, like you just want to have a car to drive. You like to have people take care of the maintenance of your vehicle. Or let's say you like to always be in a new car. For some people, it's very important to be in nice vehicles all the time. It could be for their job, it could be for their lifestyle. So leasing a car in that sense really makes sense, because if you, after 3 years, you're always going to be upgraded to a better vehicle. So you don't have to just turn back the keys and you walk away and you get a new car. So I don't have a preference of which one is better, but it's just important to know which one works better for you personally. So, and also too, the thing that I see the biggest mistake for people is there's a lot of misconceptions around leasing a vehicle and why it's better than buying. So I just kind of want to debunk those like myths so that you can have a better understanding the next time you're looking to buy or lease your vehicle. So the first one is people think that if you don't have cash down, leasing is better. While that is true, so if you go to the dealership, most likely if you don't have cash down, they will most likely try to sell you on a lease, like because it's lower in monthly payment. There's, you just sign and drive. That was one of the commercial that I saw. But realistically speaking, if you want to finance a car, if you want to own a car, you can still finance a car with 0% down. Nobody say that you have to put cash down on your vehicle. Now, unless your credit union or your bank require that, usually you can still finance a car without any cash down. So don't feel like you just need to get into a lease because you don't have any money saved for that down payment. While it's suggested that 10 to 20% down payment when you buy your first car, when you buy a new car, it's suggested, but it's not always the case. Like, you don't have to have it. So the second thing is people think that you're saving a lot more money by leasing a car. This is the biggest mistake and the biggest misconception that I've heard over the years. So whenever people come in to buy out their lease, my first question is, why did you get into a lease in the first place? And their response is, I always thought that leasing is much cheaper and you save a lot more money. It's not exactly true, because if you lease a car and at the end of the term you're looking to buy out that lease, you're really not saving money. And I'll explain to you why. So when you pay for your lease, all you're paying for is the interest and the depreciation of that vehicle. You're not paying anything towards the car itself. So kind of like you're renting a home, right? You're just paying your landlord, the rent every single month, but you're not really paying towards the home because you don't own it. So same thing with the lease. You're making these payments every single month, but you're not paying down towards the car. And what ended up happening is when you buy out the lease, what they end up doing is you have to end up paying the used car sales tax at the end of the lease when you buy it out. In some states, they make you pay for the sales tax up front, but in California specifically, I know that they don't make you pay the sales tax up front. They make you pay it when you buy out the lease at the end of the term. So let's say if you're leasing a car and you're used to let's say $100 to $200 monthly payment. Well, when you go and buy out the lease, you have to think about adding on the sales tax, and there are fees that go with it. And if you go over the allotted amount of mileage per year, you'll have to pay extra on that as well too. So everything combined plus the value of plus the price of the vehicle, you're no longer going to be paying that $100 to $200 monthly payment anymore. That monthly payment is actually going to go up exponentially. So you really are not saving money just because you're leasing a car. So when you buy it out though, that's where all of the fees and everything else get added on to the end of the vehicle. And it's not beneficial to you because now the car has already depreciated so much in value over the last 3 years. So you might be experiencing what they call negative equity, where the loan that you have to take out for the car now, it's more than what the car is actually worth. And so that's a place that you don't want to be. So if you think that leasing a vehicle in the long run is saving you money, it's not. If you're leasing a vehicle with the sole purpose of not wanting to ever own a car, then that's perfectly fine. But I just want to make that very clear, because that's the number one mistake that people have, because they think that they're making a good choice by leasing because it's cheaper. It might be cheaper when you're in the lease, but it's not cheaper when you buy it out. And then, okay, so moving on. So number 3 is people believe that they cannot negotiate a lease. I don't know if this is something when you go down to the dealership that they talk you into this contract and for you to feel like you don't have room to negotiate. And just like any contract that you sign, you do have the ability to negotiate. And more importantly, for a lease, you should really be negotiating, because if you sign up for a bad deal, it's going to follow you. And like I explained earlier in my previous video about the auto buying tips, you can still catch that video on my page. But like I mentioned, the more information you know, the better off you'll be. So you definitely should negotiate. You should negotiate what they call the, let me see here, I have it down here, what they call the capitalized cost, or the price of the vehicle. You definitely should negotiate that, and the same way you would negotiate when you buy a car, because that amount is going to determine what, when you buy out your lease, like what that value of the car is going to be. So make sure you negotiate. Don't let them talk you into thinking that you can't, because just like any legal contract, you can negotiate before you sign it. Okay, so then the next thing I have is a lot of people are under the assumption that the sales tax is included with their lease, and that the monthly payment, what they're paying towards, is going to pay down the sales tax. But it is not. Like I mentioned earlier, it might be the case in other states, but if you're in California, most leasing company will not charge you the sales tax up front. So what that means is you have to think about that sales tax still being there should you ever want to buy that vehicle. So don't make assumptions. Make sure you ask plenty of questions before you sign for your lease. And so the last thing is, people feel that they can't buy their, people feel that they are the only person that can buy out their lease. So if, let's say you're stuck in a lease, you really don't like the car anymore, and you have maybe a year to go left on your lease. Most leasing company will allow a third party to buy it out. So it's called a third-party lease buyout. So if you have a family member or friends that really like your car and they want to buy it, they can actually buy you out of that lease. So it's definitely doable. And based on my research, there are different websites that you can post your vehicle on there, and you can do what they call like a lease swap. So it's not, so you're not stuck in it forever if you really don't like the vehicle once you start to lease it. So check it out, do some research and ask your dealership if they offer lease swaps or if they offer the third-party lease buyout. But I know that you can have somebody buy out your lease if you don't like it anymore. So don't feel like you're stuck in a lease if you really don't like the car. So those are kind of like the 5 most commonly misconceived information that I've heard over the years. So hopefully that will give you some clarity and perhaps help you make a wiser decision the next time you decide to get a new car. Real quick too, I also want to just go over situations where one would lease over buy a car. Okay, so just like I mentioned earlier, for somebody who's leasing a car, it is designed and it is perfect for somebody who continuously like to have new cars, to be in a new car. So if you if you like to be in a new car all the time, leasing is the way to go. Just like leasing a phone, you'll always continue to make payments, but in exchange, you'll always have the newest, the coolest thing, and you don't have to worry about maintaining that because you're just renting it. So that's perfect for somebody who's looking to lease a car. Now, another thing is too, a lot of businesses now offer lease write-offs. So if your company is giving you an incentive to lease a car, I mean, why the heck not? Go ahead and lease the car. And also too, if leasing is perfect for somebody who is like, let's say they own a car and then they get tired of it within a couple of years and they want to trade it in. by doing that, let's say if you own a car and you trade it in within like 2 or 3 years, but you still have a loan on the car, it's actually a really not a profitable scenario, because the amount that you would get for a car when you trade it in is definitely going to be much lower than what you owe on the loan. So if this is you might consider leasing a vehicle, because if you feel like you get tired of your car, don't buy it, because once you buy it and you finance the car, trading it in, the dealership is going to give you close to nothing for your vehicle. So something to think about. So now I'm gonna go over when is it better for somebody to buy versus to lease. So as like I mentioned before, owning a vehicle, it's kind of like your personal preference. Like, do you like the ownership of the things that you have? Like owning a home or owning a vehicle or owning your phone. Some people just prefer to own their things so that they have more freedom, more flexibility to do as they wish with the item. So same thing with leasing a car. Buying a car, you get that freedom. You get to drive as much as you like on the car, and it's much better if for somebody who is commuting, so that way you don't have to be afraid of going over that allotted mileage that the dealership has given you, because most of the time they only give you about 10 to 15,000 miles a year, and once you go beyond that point, when you trade in the lease, they'll charge you that extra like 25 cents per mile beyond that. So if you commute a lot and for sure that you'll be driving more than like 12,000 miles a year, buying a car is definitely a better way to go, because you don't want to be stuck paying a bunch of fees at the end just because you drove over the allotted amount. And okay, alrighty. Oh, and also too, so another scenario that would be good for buying versus leasing is if you have a down payment. So if you have a down payment, it's a good idea to just buy your car, because when you put a down payment towards your purchase, it will also in turn reduce your monthly payment, which is essentially what a lot of people seek for when they get into a lease. So if you have a down payment on the car, might as well just buy it and put the down payment so that you don't have to pay as much every month anyway. And also too, if the monthly payment is still too high, just know that you can still stretch the term of the loan out longer to make a more manageable monthly payment. All right, and okay, that's what I have for now. Oh, also too, if you are in a lease right now and you're looking to buy it out, I get a question like, what do I do? My advice is to start saving maybe 10 to 20%, so that when you're ready to buy out your lease, you can put that down payment towards the vehicle. That way you're not in the hole of owing more than what the car is worth. Your down payment will actually bring the value of the car, the amount of the loan more evenly to what the car is worth at the time. So yeah, getting a down payment, putting a down payment towards buying out your lease is actually one of the best things that you can do. So yeah, this is what I have for you guys. Oh, I see a couple people popping on. I just can't see who's on here. So if you can just leave me a comment, let me know you're here. All right, you guys. Well, this is all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and feel free to share this video if you know somebody that's looking to buy a car or lease a car but don't know what they should do or what's better for them. Please share this video with them. And if you're looking to buy a car, I also have another video posted last week on my page about auto buying tips so that you don't get ripped off. Thank you so much, you guys, for being here, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.